Hello, I am Seamus Donohue of EVE University, and this is episode 4 of How to Survive EVE Online. Let's continue on with the next mission. First of all, let's get this previous tutorial window out of the way. Let's right-click Aura and start conversation. Or I could have just simply clicked request mission at the bottom of the existing window. And this is going to be a combat mission. So, let us click accept.
Your next trial involves combat. In order to survive, you will need to fit modules to your ship. To begin, access the station's fitting services.
Let's close the agent conversation window first. Then open up the fitting. And click Next.
Your ship needs to be fitted with a weapon and an armor repair module. Both of these are being provided to you now. Your weapon is capable of dealing high amounts of damage at close range. The small armor repairer is your defensive module. When activated, it will repair a small amount of your ship's armor. You will not be able to keep it running constantly though, so only use it when you have to.
Left-click and drag the modules from your items hanger to the middle of the fitting screen, let go, and that will fit the module to the appropriate slot. If you have a friend who is looking over your shoulder who has played the game for a while, that friend may be pointing out to you that he or she recognizes this light electron blaster as a weapon that requires ammunition. Don't worry about that, the tutorial will give you ammunition as you go. But for now, let's just close the fitting window and click Next.
Drag the weapon onto your ship in the fitting area. It will fit into the appropriate slot automatically. Do the same with your defensive module.
Which we've already done. Click Next.
When you are ready, undock.
And you can just click the undock button here. And let's click Next. Now let's warp to the next mission. So right-click empty space, combat basics, encounter dead space, and warp to location.
Warp drive active.
We are traveling faster than light to the mission. Occasionally the distance to warp bubble collapse will be a little bit buggy. Don't worry about it too much.
All weapons require ammunition to fire. You are now being provided with close-range ammunition. Load your weapon now.
And, of course, now let me hit Alt-C to open my cargo hold. The tutorial spawns the ammunition right into your cargo hold for you. By the way, if you happen to be in space when the built-in tutorials give you items, they will appear in your ship's cargo hold. But let's right-click the module and select Antimatter Charge S. And it will blink at you for 10 seconds to indicate that it's loading. Let's click Next.
The type of ammunition you load affects the range at which your turrets can hit. You can access detailed information on your weapon through the heads-up display.
So just right-click the weapon and show info. And if you go to the Attributes tab, you'll see a number of different attributes. Optimal range is 500 meters, tracking accuracy fall-off is 1500 meters, tracking speed accuracy is 0.365 radians per second. I'm not going to go into too much detail right now about what this means, but let's click this icon here on the overview. That's the menu icon. And let's open the overview settings. And what I want you to do is on your column, add velocity, radial velocity, and angular velocity. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what the attributes on the weapon mean, but generally, If you're within optimal plus fall off, you have a reasonable chance to hit the target at your distance. So 2 kilometers or less. And the tracking speed is something you want to compare to your angular velocity here. So just remember that your tracking speed is 0.365 radians per second. Let's click next.
Activate the acceleration gate and proceed to the next area when you are ready.
You know how to activate a gate.
Warp
So you
drive
left click the gate,
active.
left click this button. And let me close the cargo hold.
Good work so far. Next, we need to do a weapons check before we send you into live combat. You should see a fuel depot nearby. Before you can fire on it, you must lock on with your own targeting systems. Get a target lock, close your range, and then open fire.
Left click on the fuel depot. It's a gigantic object you can't miss. If you'd like to have something like this on your overview, you can always right click it and select Add Large Collidable Structure to Overview. Or not. You can also remove things from your overview. But you can hold down the control key and left click. That's the fast way to target lock something. Let go of the left control key, and you know what? Let's move this target origin up. Let's move it up here. And then hit F1 on your keyboard. Boom. You'll notice that your bars just turned partly red.
You've taken damage from the nearby explosion. You should repair your ship now with the defensive module you fitted. Remember to deactivate it once you've repaired the damage.
These 3 bars represent your shields, your armor, and your structure. When you start taking damage, your shields go down first. If there are no shields left, your battle armor takes damage, and if there is no battle armor left, your structure starts to take damage. If your structure is reduced to 0, your ship explodes, you are ejected into your capsule. And you should get your capsule out of there as quickly as possible. But for now, you can left click the module, or hit Control F1. And I will hit Control F1 now to turn it off, and it will finish this repair cycle. And let's click Done. Oh, by the way, there's a menu icon down here. I like to left click on it, and I like to show empty module slots. I like to show readout. That's this thing up here, the numbers. And I like to have an absolute readout, so I know exactly how many hit points I have on each layer. Right. Left click the acceleration gate and click approach. Or you can double left click in empty space to manually fly in that direction. Hit Control R to reload your weapon. Alright, here we are, we're close enough to the acceleration gate. Let's click Activate Gate.
Warp drive active.
Heads up, pilot. You have 2 hostile ships inbound to your location. You should see them represented in your overview. Let's take care of them now. Lock the targets.
Hold down the control button and left click. Also hit F1 to start shooting. Now notice the angular velocity up here. Basically an angular velocity is a measure of how quickly the target is moving around you. Right now the angular velocity is about 0.61. Your tracking speed is about 5 times that. So you can still hit that target despite the fact that it's moving around you. If it were moving around you too quickly, let's Control left click the other thing. If it were moving around you too quickly, your weapon would be missing a lot. If it were too far away, your weapon would also be missing a lot. In the case of your particular weapon, the target needs to be within about 2 kilometers, roughly. Hit F1. There we go. The target needs to be within about 2 kilometers and moving at less than 0.36 radians per second. This one's moving at 0.2.
Good work. The area has been cleared of hostile targets. Warp back to the station and dock to complete the mission.
By the way, these are wreck icons. These are the wrecks of ships. They're hollow, indicating that they didn't drop any loot. If they were filled icons, you could open the cargo hold and drag the loot from the window to your window. But these loot wrecks don't contain anything. Left-click the station, dock.
Warp drive active.
And while we are warping back to station, we may as well hit Control-R to reload our weapon.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Contact me through the agent's menu to complete the mission.
And we're already at the agent's tab, so right-click Aura, start conversation, and click the button. Alright. Let's click Done to get that out of the way. That is it for this episode. In the next episode, we will continue on with the next step in the tutorial series. In the meantime, thank you for watching.